Hi, everybody. Welcome to When Calls the Hallmarkies. This is a show where we talk about When Calls the Heart, and we are recapping 2 episodes from season 9. We're talking about episodes 4 and 5. It's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Caroline is here.
Hey, y'all.
And Ruth Hill is here.
Hey.
Yes. So overall, what do you think of these 2 episodes? Do you think they were fun? What do you think, Caroline?
These are like my 2 favorite episodes of the season so far.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they're good together to talk about together. I thought.
Yeah. What do you think, Ruth?
Oh yeah, I loved these, especially this most recent one. There's just so much good stuff in that.
Yeah, they're really, episode 5 was a home run. It was so good. And I've never felt so vindicated for being team school inspector in my life. It was great. And so I'm excited to talk about that. But we'll start with episode 4, Straight from the Heart. And this is Elizabeth sees a new side of Lucas when a flu bug leaves her without a babysitter and he volunteers to watch little Jack. So yeah, we have some other stuff going on here, but that's sort of the A plot is Lucas watching little Jack. And I thought that was really cute. And I mean, we had really good moments for Lucas / Chris McNally in both of these episodes. But what do you think of that, Caroline?
I thought it was just so cute, like seeing like Jack and Lucas interact, like the buddy nickname, like it melts my heart every time they say it to each other. It's just so cute.
Yeah.
And it just seems so natural for Harlan to say that, call him buddy,
Yeah.
And it was just cute seeing how like natural it was for him to, watch little Jack. And I'm glad there wasn't any like problems, like he didn't like act out or anything.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of all of that, Ruth? You've had a child, you've had to get childcare. Like, certain people are like, "Are you sure you're going to be okay? You can handle it." I mean, you probably can relate to that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I really enjoyed. Of course, I mean, it was great to see Lucas stepping in. I think what I really appreciated was we don't see enough of, even in modern network shows, we don't see enough of fathers taking care of little tiny ones like that. You don't see that. And I love the fact that we got to see that side, and it was just so endearing, and I'm so but yeah, it could be difficult. She was in quite the predicament, and Lucas would not have been probably my first choice had I been in Elizabeth's position, but she was kind of like, okay.
Well, partly because, like she said, that she'd assumed that he had a million other things to do. Because he's very busy. He's got like multiple businesses, and so I can understand why that alone would be the reason that she wouldn't have thought of him. But one of the things that I've said on our Talking Heartland podcast that I like about Heartland is that they allow for a show about cowboys, they allow the men to be maternal at times and take care of Katie or, the other, smaller children that have been on the show. And particularly, Jack has so many sweet moments with, and he's the older man, with Katie and Georgie and Mallory before that. And I think that it adds a layer to the show and makes the characters more rich, instead of just being sort of, macho cowboy guys. And so it's kind of fun. You've seen that a little bit here too. I agree with you, Ruth. It's nice to see.
And seeing him pull the little wagon like around like, town, I was like, I would be gone. Like if I was Elizabeth, I'd be like, okay, sign.
Yeah,
like
that's cute. Yeah, and he's kind of upset about little Jack being fussy because Elizabeth told him not to give him ice cream because he's had too much ice cream lately with the new soda fountain. But I probably would have given in sooner and just gone for the ice cream. Although he wasn't really fussy. I mean, he was just kind of sitting there, so I didn't quite understand what the problem was. But anyway, I probably would have given in sooner and just got the ice cream.
A little ice cream won't hurt.
Yeah. I mean, just as long as it's just, having a little dessert each day, I think is perfectly fine for kids. And but I can see why he wouldn't want to. When he told her that he wouldn't do it, I can see why he wouldn't want to do it. But the whole pig Latin scene made me laugh.
That was funny.
That was hilarious. Oh my goodness, yes.
Ex-nay on that. Yeah. And I actually, not that we talked about the show is not historically accurate, but just out of curiosity, I looked up pig Latin. And it's according to there's a Wikipedia on pig Latin, and it was started in 1919 is when they first.
Snap.
Isn't that funny?
Oh, well.
I was like, there's no way pig Latin is old. That seems like something from like the 70s or something. But nope, I was wrong.
Oh my goodness.
So that was funny.
And of course, Rosemary knew what to say. Like, of course, like that was funny.
So Mei Sue goes to help Newton, and she invites Nathan to come with, and says that she can hit two birds with one stone, work with Newton and Nathan at the same time, which was funny. And then he asks her to dinner, which is something he never did with Elizabeth. Never. There was one time when they were going to have dinner, and it got I think that's when Jesse was gone, I think, or something like that. Something interrupted it. And but he's much more forward here with Mei Sue than he ever was with Elizabeth.
I was cheering. I'm like, go Nathan. Like, finally, you did it, buddy. Like,
yeah. Because that's what we said in our previous show, is that like Lucas actually courted Elizabeth. He was way more intentional about, will you go on this date with me? Will you do this with me? Will you, as opposed to Nathan, who was just kind of the hangout guy.
That's true.
Yeah. So things are looking good for Mei Sue. And we got a little scene with Molly and Bill. And he's trying to get Molly's help to divide the office in half. And she's going to be like the interior decorator or something. And then Hickam comes in and says, oh, well, I've got the office next door, so you don't need to worry about it.
Yes.
That was cute.
And I feel like everybody's being super rude to Hickam.
That's how I felt. I was like, don't underestimate my boy Hickam. Like, he can handle the job. Yeah.
I mean, people voted for him, and especially Lee, which it's surprising to me because Hickam worked for him for so long. So
I think his pride was just wounded. Like, I hope he believes in Hickam. Like, but maybe he's just still kind of about losing.
Kind of rude when he talks to Hickam, and he tells Rosemary that he likes Hickam. I like him, but I don't think he's cut out for this job. I mean, that just doesn't seem fair when he's literally, what's it been, a week? He hasn't even officially started yet. It's all just I don't know. So I think it's a little bit weird. And I kind of think that Lee should just go back to working at the mill.
Yes.
To running the mill. I don't know. This whole thing of him being editor. And we see it in the next episode. We'll talk more about
what happened to the mill. Like, what happened to it?
Yeah. Who's running it? I have no idea. But he said he's getting jealous of Rosemary's confidential sources. And he says, well, who is there? Wasn't it wouldn't be confidential anymore.
It's true.
And he says, would you be straight with me? Would you tell me the truth, even if it hurt? And that I wasn't, ready to be mayor or something like that. And Rosemary says, yes, I tell you the truth. And I feel like that's legit, Rosemary, for her character. We find out that that Minnie wants to buy the cafe and Joe wants to, I guess Joe has been running. Has he been running the mill, or he says he wants to buy it or something?
I think he said he was doing paper, like
he's doing bookkeeping and stuff. But then I thought he was the pastor, but everybody in Hope Valley has 5 jobs, so that's probably fine.
That's true.
But let's see here. So Lucas takes little Jack to the infirmary. They have a phone in the infirmary now. And Faith looks at him and looks at little Jack and says that his gums are a little inflamed. But that's it, which is the perfect time to have ice cream if your gums are inflamed.
Yes.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Heartie, or Hallmarkie in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
So we have this whole thing with the kids. Well, first with Elizabeth getting upset with Mr. Landis. And I said from the beginning that it's not Mr. Landis's fault. Like, he is just implementing what the school board has told him to do. What is like, so at the very least, you're getting mad at the messenger and not, you're getting instead of the message. It's not his fault. Right. And so Elizabeth gets very upset with him and says, this is my school. And because she got certification, which she should have double checked before she got the certification, to make sure it was the right certification. But evidently it's not the right certification. And I would think you would have to, I guess she was at the beginning of the season, she comes back from being at, wherever, I forget, Hamilton. And so maybe she was there for a little while doing the certification, but yeah, I mean, it does feel like, okay, she did get the certification. It probably should be fine. But again, not his fault. It's not his, it's the school board.
Is the school board over the Hope Valley school yet, or is it just until it becomes a bigger school? So he really doesn't have any authority yet.
Doesn't have any that I guess there are a bunch of new people moving in, right? From for the foundry. And when that happens, that's when the new district will be formed and she will be opted into that school board. But nevertheless, whether the certification is valid or not is not his call. Right? It's the people above him. Was that your take, Ruth, or did you see
I mean, I think that's right, but I think there also could be, I think it's one of those situations where he could actually go and make a case for her if he was not so tied into, well, this is the way we have to do it. And because I do know in schools, and especially, you can't tell me that, a school certification she got in Hamilton wouldn't work on the prairie. I will admit that was a bit for me, which is thinking of the scarcity of teachers. And I just, for me, that seemed a little bit unusual. But I would say that if Elizabeth couldn't get on Mr. Landis's good side, then he could go and make a case. Well,
exactly.
I think there is that. I have to, I have a feeling there was probably a lot of freedom, but he was very like he was going to stick to the rules, like this is the way it's going to be. And so I felt as though he was just very unhappy. And I think then we discover the next episode what's going on.
With Hamilton, like you would want your teacher to get certified in Hamilton, where it's like a bigger city and more like learning, you know, like it's better opportunities.
I bet once it finally did go before the board that then it would get approved. Yeah, but it just hasn't yet. So Elizabeth basically just has to be like a little bit patient, and she has like an impatient moment, which I think she was probably too hard on herself about. I mean, people have disagreements, part of life. It doesn't make you a bad person because you know, have heated words with somebody. But she worries that she's a bad influence upon the kids. And then the kids glue Mr. Landis's hat to the desk. And they all think it's pretty funny. I think that's pretty funny.
I thought it was funny.
It was funny. But then Elizabeth gets very upset about it. But I don't know. What do you substitute teach Ruth? What do you think about this? This is a harmless prank or no?
Well, there needed to be consequences. You know, it's one thing for it to happen, but I do hope that they paid to replace Mr. Landis's hat, because that would have been the right thing to do. As long as that would have happened, I mean, I think Elizabeth handled it the way that she needed to, because it made her look really bad in the eyes of Mr. Landis. And so I can understand her being upset. I wouldn't have ever done that, but I wasn't one that did that. I would have been the one in the back saying, I can't believe some kid did this. I would have been, that was me.
Yeah, I probably would have laughed, but then like felt kind of guilty in association.
That's what I would have been too.
Yeah.
But if it was for my brother, like, I don't know, like trying to stick up for your sibling, you know, you do crazy things. So
yeah, because Cooper says I at least I did something. I don't apologize, and he says
that
you'll never
scene made me cry.
understand. Yeah. It was pretty intense. I was like, wow, this kid's got some guts.
And when he ran to hug Elizabeth, like, oh my God, that was so sweet.
Yes. And so we also get a scene of Lucas getting beat up at the beginning, getting a black eye. And he tells Walden, he says, don't go near Mrs. Thornton or her son. And Walden and Smith, or that other guy, won't give up their guns. And so anyway, they have a heated exchange. And I'm a little bit confused about all of this going on. I hope you two can help. So how did Fiona become involved in all of this? I don't really understand what happened with that. I forgot. So she goes to make the deal, but then Lucas is upset with him. I think this is in the next episode. But anyway, I don't really understand everything that's going on with Walden and Smith and Fiona. Can you help me, Caroline, explain that?
I think Lucas asked Fiona to help him in season 8, I believe, like with the oil. She knew an investor, and like so she was gonna go try to help find an investor to help with the oil company, and in San Francisco.
Smith, who was the he was the investor of the
Mhm.
coal mine.
Now, I think Hickam asked Fiona to help too. So it was Lucas and Hickam asking Fiona because she knew people in San Francisco.
So then
That's what-
Wyman, he is running
I think he's-
Foundry.
I think he's different with Smith. Like Walden was trying to buy the saloon in season 8. So I think they're kind of like, they're both happening to Lucas, but they're two different things. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That's how
'cause it's surprising because so they have Wyman meeting with Lucas, and Wyman has only been presented as a negative character. I mean, there's been nothing positive about him at all. And so, and because they're obviously trying to get us to like Lucas, it's a little bit surprising that they have these scenes of him still being this kind of shrewd businessman, I guess, to put it nicely, meeting with Wyman. I don't know. What do you think about all that, Ruth?
Yeah, I think I was confused about everything too, just really much like you were, because sometimes I do miss things like that.
Yeah.
I know Fiona was, but what Carolyn was saying, that does seem to ring a bell. All those things. I'm hoping that we will understand it more as I have this feeling that there's going to be some intense, some kind of issues coming up, because this is Hope Valley, and you can't have an idyllic season with nothing bad happening. So
right,
that it's gonna happen. And I think we're even if we don't understand everything that's going on. I remember Fiona getting involved with being asked to be involved. I don't know how she's able to do all the stuff that she does is actually more my thing. How she can cut hair and do all these business dealings and go back and forth, and how she has all the money to do this, I don't know. But
yeah, and then we also, we start out with him getting beat up, Lucas getting beat up, and then he's meeting with these people. So I don't know
I think
what's going on there.
I think he knows more than he's letting on. Like somehow he knows they're shady, so he's gonna try to like undercover like what's going on, and then let Nathan and Bill know. I think they're all in on the scheme. That's what I think.
Yeah,
because Nathan's
cloudy.
like, are you okay? Like to Nathan, like to Lucas, and I just think they kind of know something's going on fishy.
Well, Maysu meets with Bill, and she tells him, "I'm a fugitive from my husband." So that's interesting. It sounds like she's still married.
Yeah. Or she says she
doesn't say ex-husband.
Married. Yeah. It's I wish they would have heard more of her conversation with Bill. I'm like, why?
Well, didn't she say, what wasn't it to like either Ned or somebody? Didn't she say that even if she was interested, that there couldn't be anything because she's not available or something?
Yeah, I think she said something like that.
Pretty sure she did. So I think she's still married, because it would be very hard back in those days, that day and time, for a woman to get a divorce. It's usually the man getting the divorce. The woman didn't. If the woman instigates getting a divorce, that could be a little difficult back then.
Or Nathan needs to be single.
Yeah, she's got to be single by the end of the season.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, maybe there'd be a cliffhanger, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see her husband by the end of the season, if he shows up in Hope Valley.
True.
Yeah.
True. Unless he dies or something.
Yeah.
Well, Faith did call him to ask about May. So he might figure out where she's at and come to Hope Valley.
That'd be interesting. So we get a scene with, first of all, we have Lucas reading to little Jack, Robin Hood. So cute. Adorable. Probably a little hard of a book for that child. that small,
True.
but nevertheless, it was really cute. That was fun. And Elizabeth sees it, and so they have some cute little banter between them, and then she comes down, and he later on she comes down and he's asleep, and she says, "I love you." So that was pretty big moment. And I was so surprised that they didn't then show a moment of him like opening the eyes or whatever.
I was expecting that.
Yeah. Me too. That would have been really cute. And then he this is when he gets beat up. I was wrong. I got the order wrong. But anyway, he gets beat up, and then he wants to take little Jack's, they have a little sailboat. So that was cute. He says, don't go near Mrs. Thornton or her son. Bill gets a letter from Clara. That was kind of fun. Cute little moment.
I like that they keep them like in this like episodes, like Clara and Jesse and Carson. I like at least hearing their names. Like that's sweet. So but I had to rewind Elizabeth saying "I love you." I'm like, did she say that? Like, and then I'm like,
yeah,
I didn't hear it at first. I'm like,
pretty big moment.
Pretty
big moment. So then Faith and Molly are talking, and she says that the love with Carson took effort, which we did talk about in the preview about how season 8 was pretty messy between them, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then she asks Molly, "Are you all right being single?" And Molly says, "I am." And she says, "What about Molly and Bill?" And Molly says, "Oh, well, we're basically just friends." And I'm like, oh, I hope that's fun. Like, I like them. Yeah. And we do, I recorded an interview with Johanna Newmarch, which we will have, I'm not sure exactly when that will air, but she is great. That was really fun. Yeah, there's something to look forward to. So there'll probably be in 2 weeks, I think, is when I'll post it, but keep an eye out for it. She was really fun. And then, yeah, Carson calls.
Yes.
And so then they talk. So yeah, what would you give this episode 1 to 10? What do you think, Caroline?
Oh, geez. Last time I gave it a 10. So
oh yeah. I forgot that.
I'm not very good at like, increasing my numbers. I'm gonna give it a 10 as well.
Oh wow. Okay. And Ruth?
I think with this one, I'm gonna go 8.5.
Yeah.
That's good.
I feel like that's pretty good. I'll go with the same. It was a fun episode. I also liked Gowan talking about Mr. Gaines in the book.
Yeah, that was sweet.
And I fall short of the character. That was cute. That's good. We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So then we have episode 5. This is called Journey into the Light. And its school inspector, Augustus Landis, is back in town and starts questioning Elizabeth's new accreditation to teach Angela. Lucas and Nathan decide to have a race, animal versus machine. So overall, Ruth, what do you think of this episode?
Definitely my favorite episode so far of the season, and definitely one of the best episodes they've had. Maybe probably even better than any of the episodes from last year, just
Mhm.
because it was, I don't know. I loved the way that it flowed so well. Covered so much territory, but you didn't feel like they were rushing through it or they weren't trying too hard to put too much in it. It was just like the right amount. I felt like this was a really well done episode. And then of course you see who wrote it, or at least who was one of
Yes.
the writers and who was one of the directors. So then
I
it's
was
like,
so
well, did it make-
excited about both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah, so that makes sense.
This was
Mhm.
Peter DeLuise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Neil.
Yes, Neil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Having
Well,
Neil come back. Yeah, I love him.
mm-hmm. And we get Allie. So that was great.
Yeah.
So Jada
Mhm.
Lee's
Yes.
back, and
Yes.
she's so cute,
She
fun,
is.
and she's like, how old is she supposed to be at this point? Do you think?
I think 13, like, because she was 10 in
Oh, that
season
young, huh?
6. She's
Mm.
so maybe 14.
So she's a lot younger than Robert then.
I think
'Cause
Robert's
Robert's
like
like
17.
graduated from.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was
But
thinking
don't
she was
think-
older
but
than that.
I was thinking she was too, but see, I just don't remember. As I get confused about the ages. So,
Mhm.
but it's okay. If she's supposed to be younger than Robert, a lot younger, it's still okay because that's the way they did it back in those days anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's still very interested in Robert. She must have brought it up 15 times in this episode.
I mean, that's a young love. Like,
Yeah.
if I ever seen it, it was so cute.
Yeah. And so I'm excited to see what happens with that. But it was good to see her back. She's giving Nathan a hard time. Like, how could you not tell me that you were in this horrible accident? And she's like, I can handle it.
I wonder who told her.
Mhm.
Did Nathan tell her, or did someone slip and tell her?
Yeah, they just said that he just said, oh, that she was mad at him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would be
Mhm.
mad too.
Yeah.
So.
And she also says that she thinks Mesu is so beautiful and tells Nathan that.
Yes.
Mhm.
And she says, get rid of the mustache. She's upset with him.
Yes.
She says, I'm upset about the
Yes.
mustache.
Yes.
And I
After
must
just
say,
calling her dad, like, she brings up, like, please
Yes.
shave the mustache. Like, went from
Yeah.
one extreme to the other. Oh,
yeah, that
so
was
sweet.
such a cute moment when she calls him dad. And then
Mhm.
he's like, you could tell how much it meant to him.
Mhm.
So cute. I
Kevin
liked that
said
a
it would be
lot.
a pearl clutching moment, like clutching your pearls. I'm like, it was
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
It
Mhm.
really was. And I liked that she made him shave the mustache. And
Yes.
when he shaved it, I mean, it was just like night and day. I was like, wow,
Mhm.
you are so handsome.
That's
Yes.
that's what I said too. I'm like, there's Kevin. Like, there it
Yes.
is.
There he is. He's been hiding behind this thing on his lip.
Caterpillar.
Yeah.
I thought it was the end of the porn stash.
That's true.
I
I called him
mean,
Magnum P. I called him Magnum PI. Like,
Yeah. And so then we also have Bill with Hickam, and Bill takes off Hickam's bow tie, which I thought was out of line.
mhm.
There's nothing wrong with a bow tie, and to just like
That's his style.
borderline assault to just like remove it from him. Like, I don't know. I don't agree with that at all.
Mhm.
My dad wears bow ties all the time. And so I don't think that it's a problem. I mean, Uncle Sam always has a bow tie on in paintings and things. There's no reason why a mayor shouldn't be allowed to wear a bow tie.
I think it fits him. It fits Hickam.
Mhm.
Like, certain people can pull off bow ties, and Hickam can.
Yeah.
Team
it was
bow tie.
rude. It was
Mhm.
very
Well,
rude.
yeah. Well, hopefully, and I think we're starting to see it. Hickam needs to start standing up for himself more. I think he's starting to.
Mhm.
I think this episode we started to see that he was doing it. So I can understand. Yeah, at first, like, he's just he's just going with, well, whatever Bill says, this is what I have to do. But I think that we're going to start to see him grow up. I think right
Mhm.
now he's just it's almost like, I realize he's a grown man, but in so many ways he's like this teenager that didn't grow up yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has a lot of these adolescent tendencies, like he wants to please everybody. And so my mom and I both are like rooting for Hickam big time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just loving his character, and we really got to see his character, I think, a lot in this.
Well, and then Bill tells him nobody likes someone who is nice all the time, and that you're going to lose friends. This is a really tough job. And he gets mad at him for talking to Walden, but of course he's going to talk to Walden. He's the mayor. He's the mayor. Like, I don't understand what Bill has been doing as mayor, not talking to people who run major businesses in his community. Like, what? And you definitely saw a little bit of pushback from Hickam at that point. So I'm hoping in the next episode that, it would be great in the next episode if he's got the bow tie on and he's just in his office and he's not listening to Bill.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good. That would be good.
I'm so glad he's getting more airtime, like Hickam, this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy that more storyline.
Yeah. So then we have Lucas and Nathan doing a race where Nathan's going to be on Newton or on Sergeant, and Lucas is going to be on his motorcycle. And when Lucas was repairing the motorcycle, first of all, there was just way too much like white clothing for somebody doing something like that. I was like, it's gonna get like,
there's always too much white clothing. Elizabeth lives in white. Yes. I'm sorry, you would not wear that much white and be out in the prairie. You just wouldn't.
She liked what Lucas was wearing though, so she approved.
Yeah. But I mean, doing something with oil and stuff, like, you're gonna get all over. You at least need an apron of some kind or something.
That's true.
But he looked hot. He
really did.
That was one of the hottest Lucas moments we've had on the show. He looked
the
really
button,
good.
the unbutton.
Yeah.
Like, go Chris.
It was good. I was like, this episode we get hot mustache-less Nathan, and we get the working on the motorcycle.
Call them the hunks of Hope Valley.
Yes. It was good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. And so they end up doing the race, and he says that he filled up the motorcycle that morning, but there must still be a leak of some kind or something. But anyway, it peters out, and so Nathan wins the race, and so then Lucas is kind of annoyed about it. We have Fiona coming back. She arrives asleep in the carriage, and she has made the deal. She closed the oil deal, but Lucas is upset about it, about the whole thing, and they have kind of a fight. But I was still sort of confused. It was Gowan who's who's mad. Gowan is upset with Fiona for making the deal, and kind of is angry with her. And I'm still just kind of a little bit confused about what's going on. So
it's not my favorite storyline for Fiona. No. Like I'm over the oil. Like, let's just flip something else. Like, I like Fiona better last year.
Yeah. So then we have also Lee is going out early, staying out late, and Rosemary thinks it's because he's getting tired of her because they work together, and it's truth. He's actually making chairs for her. And I have to say, this is one of my least favorite plot lines in shows, when so-and-so is planning a surprise party or a surprise of some kind, and then the other person thinks, oh, he's either like cheating on me or doesn't love me anymore or whatever. Like, the surprise is not worth it. It's never worth it. If the person is thinking that you don't love them anymore, it's not worth the surprise. Just tell them. I mean, I guess I'm the kind of person, to me, surprise does not add to the experience very much. I don't really like being surprised. And so I just don't get it. I always say they have this storyline all the time on shows, all the time. And here, Rosemary, she's thinking, oh, he doesn't love me anymore. He's getting tired of me. And like, no, he's just making you a chair.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. What did you think of that, Caroline?
I thought it was like typical Rosemary though, to go to that like extreme, and like talking to Elizabeth about it, and then like Elizabeth bringing it up to Lucas, like we really don't need to spend that much time together. Look at Rosemary and Lee. That was kind of funny. And I just love Rosie.
Person. Do you like being surprised?
I like surprising others. Like I don't like being surprised. Like I can give it, but I can't take it.
Do you like surprises?
Oh yeah, I
Have you ever had a
usually
surprise?
happen.
Maybe you have. I'm trying
birthday
to think. Party or
not anything like that. But I have been surprised, but nothing like that. Not where it's maybe where one person has surprised me, but not like a whole group of people or anything like that.
Yeah, I haven't had that many surprises. Maybe that's my problem, is that I think I don't like surprises just because I haven't had most of them have been negative surprises. I don't know.
I never had a surprise party before, so I don't know what that's like.
We don't know the joy.
No.
One surprise that I do think of that was fun growing up when I was middle school. There's this place in Virginia called King's Dominion Park, and I went for the day, and while I was gone, my parents painted my bedroom, because I had this special Laura Ashley bedspread that I loved, which was like green and blue kind of. And so they did, not only did they paint my room, but they like sponge painted it green and blue. So they did this like effect anyway. And that was a pretty fun surprise to come home after being at the amusement park, I love amusement parks, all day, and my parents had painted my room, and that was a fun surprise. So it can be a fun surprise.
My parents surprised me and my brothers on our 10th birthday to Disney World. We didn't know we were going, so that was fun. Yeah. That was a good surprise. So I've had
this plot line though of like the person is scared that you're leaving them or you don't love them anymore because you're planning a surprise. That's when you're just like, nope, just tell them it's not worth it.
Right. Well, I didn't understand why Rosemary, like, she's always willing to talk. So why doesn't she just ask, like,
exactly,
ask Lee? I kept wanting to say, Rosemary, just ask Lee. Just say, are you tired of me? Like, you can deal with it. Like, just ask.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Lee actually says to her, when he gives her the chairs, he says, we need to spend more time together outside of work. So he wants more time, not less.
Mm-hmm. He loves her.
Yeah, he really does. She shouldn't be so worried. Lucas tells Elizabeth, says, I do like adventure. I can be restless. I've never stayed in one place so long, but you are the reason I stay. You are my adventure. You are my passion. That was cute.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly kind of feel like they should just get married. If they drag this out multiple seasons, I will be really annoyed.
Because if they do get a 10th season, that'd be the perfect time to have a big wedding.
Yeah.
So there you go, writers.
They made me wait 5 seasons for Elizabeth and Jack. That was torture.
And then Jack died. So it's like,
and Jack dies 3 episodes later.
I know.
All the romance, though, like, I mean, they've upped the romance, like with Lucas and Elizabeth. I mean, they're ready. Yeah. Like, I mean, it wasn't like this with Jack and Elizabeth. Like, they're ready.
I mean, in real life, they would never be allowed to be in each other's homes like that, unchaperoned, kissing as much as they do in public. I mean, that kind of thing would not happen.
No.
They're ready. Find Joseph and get it over with.
There you go. Yeah, I was ready to tell them, just like, get a room, like, you're out here just like all over each other, like,
or
and then Yeah. And then just, I mean, it was really sweet what the exchange that they had with if they
Vows,
got
basically. Yeah.
yeah, I know. They're like giving their if I got married.
Yeah.
If I got married. Like, get rid of the if. You guys are like
Get
pledging
married.
eternal love to each other. Just like do it. It's
Yeah.
been enough time. My goodness.
I agree.
Mhm.
And he says, if we should marry, I would hurry home to you every night. That was cute.
I mean,
That was
this.
cute.
I mean, every girl wants that. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
snatch him, Elizabeth.
So then the other main plot line of this episode, there was really a lot going on in this episode, but the other main plot line was Minnie decides that she's going to have Mr. Landis over for dinner, and she gives him a muffin first, and she tells Joe, I want to have a meal with this person that I do not like, basically hoping that they can find some common ground. And yeah, I mean, I thought that was all really compelling. I think Natasha did a good job as Minnie. And you could feel like the tension when he comes to dinner. I thought that was all effective. And of course, then when he starts playing the music with Angela and you realize, oh, see, Mr. School Inspector was not so bad after all.
Right. Exactly.
And
It was great. I loved it.
and little Cooper's facial expressions the whole time, like
Mhm.
I just loved that. Like he was like annoyed. He's like, this man, I do not like this man. Like, why is he here? And then like he saw how he was playing the piano and he kind of changed a little. And I'm like, I just love Cooper. I love the whole family, whole Canfield family. So
Yeah, and Elizabeth apologizes to Mr. Landis, and he basically says like we're going to have arguments from time to time, but we can be adults about it, and then he basically says at the end, like, I'm definitely interested in going back and doing more teaching instead of just being a bureaucrat. And hopefully now, as you said, Ruth, that he will then now be more of an advocate for Elizabeth than he had in the past. So I thought it was a really charming performance as Mr. Landis. I thought let's see who that actor is. I thought he did a really good job, especially somebody that we're supposed to hate. Yeah. But
I'm glad he wasn't like a villain though. Like the other teacher, like was it season 4 where they had that Mr. Stoneman come? I'm like, I'm glad it wasn't anything like that.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, this is Todd Thompson. He was the actor and he did a good job. I felt for him by the end, even though I was already team school inspector. I should have him on the podcast and tell him I was like the only one rooting for you in season 8. But what do you think, Ruth, of that whole scene dynamic?
Oh, it was great. I was loving every minute of that scene. I was not expecting him to say music teaching, but then it's like, wow. And then just watching that whole scene, that was really cool. Since I was a music teacher, I was like, okay, this is maybe I can understand why he was so grouchy, because he gave up his passion.
Right.
I love when
bureaucrat.
When she was playing the piano and like he was going a little bit slower, like, and she's like, come on, Mr. Landis. Like, I'm like, that was so sweet.
It was really cute.
Love little how do you say your name? Vienna. She does a great job as Angela.
Yeah, she really does. And I think she's pretty convincing that she's blind. Vienna is her name. Vienna. Leacock. Yeah, really good. Both Leacock kids showing up.
Yeah. They got it honest. Yeah.
So there we go. I think we covered everything from this episode. A lot going on. It was a really good one. I mean, it's hard to give. I'm going to give it a 9.5. I thought it was very strong. What do you think, Caroline?
10.
Yeah, 10.
Because I rank mine like 1 through 5, like seasons 1 through 5, like Jack and Elizabeth and Abigail, and then I do 6 through like, and like that's my favorite of the Nathan Lucas like era of When Calls the Heart. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
enjoyed it.
did I give a 10 to Florence and Ned's wedding? I think maybe I did. So maybe I could give it a 10. This is very strong. This is basically everything you could want from When Calls the Heart. This is what the show does. This is what the show is. I mean, maybe the stuff with Fiona is, I'm not loving all of that, I guess. It might be a slight nitpick, but this is what you tune into the show for. I mean, everything with, you've got Elizabeth saying, I love you. You've got this incredible with the school inspector moment. You have Rosemary and Lee and
Dad.
The dad moment. You've got May Sue and Nathan. I mean, it's just, there's so much going on here. So it's really strong. What do you think? What would you give it, Ruth?
Well, I thought you and I were going to agree because I was giving it 9.5 and then you changed it to 10. So I don't know what that means. Because I was like, I was ready to say, oh my goodness, we had 2 episodes and we completely agreed because.
Well, maybe I'll stick with 9.5 then. 9.5. It is a really strong episode is the main point. We definitely agree there.
Yes.
And so, yeah, let us know what you think of these 2 episodes. If you're listening, please share with us your rating, what you would give it and what you liked and all the things we talked about. And if there's something we missed, please, there was a lot going on in both these episodes. So please just let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And Ruth, where can people find you?
You can find me across social media, Ruth Hill 74. Also have a podcast, Media from the Heart, which you can find everywhere. And then I do have a website, mydevotionalthoughts.net.
And Caroline, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MetaCarolineR.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check that out. I also have my video on my channel where I give recommendations. If you like When Calls the Heart, some other shows that you'd like, I would love if you check that out. The link will be in the description. And so make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our patron group and merch store. And then we have tons of Hearties inspired merch at the merch store. So please take a look at that. All that information's in the description. So thanks so much, ladies. It was so much fun. We'll talk in 2 more weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.